Donnie Trump insults Pakistan, loses a potential ally, and stirs up the pot between Afghanistan and Pakistan. Oh, Trump. Is he doing this because he's just a raving lunatic idiot, or is he doing this because he wants to justify the escalation of Afghanistan? We're already sending more troops there. We already have more troops there than were officially reported. I'm going to tell you what I think. I think it's both. Trump is an idiot, doesn't understand foreign policy. This was the greatest fear. And it's also some good old-fashioned deep state shenanigans. Because here's what Trump said. He allegedly has criticized Pakistan for harboring agents of chaos and providing safe havens to militant groups waging an insurgency against the U.S.-backed government in Kabul. That's true. I remember when I first was in Afghanistan, I was at this base, Salerno, 25 miles from the Pakistan border, and everyone was like, oh, they shoot them from on the other side of the border. There's a mountain range that's between Afghanistan and Pakistan, and they shoot rockets over there. So that, yes, obviously they had Osama bin Laden there, but here's why it's a blunder on Trump's part, unless he just really wants to. I mean, I'm sure the military-industrial complex would love to get another 150,000 boots on the ground back in Afghanistan, and then we can fight the Taliban, and we can fight Pakistan, and maybe let's send 500,000 people over there, because why not? We need more casualties and more PTSD and more vets coming home with all kinds of physical and mental problems. Yeah, who cares? Just boom, hey, we're the rich guys. Rich guys' kids don't go to prison, or don't go to, well, no, they don't go to prison. They don't go to war either. So what happened is Tillerson said that the situation must change immediately, and that he warned reporters that Washington would consider cutting off aid to Pakistan. So America, Trump, of course, is thinking they're all bad and swinging it around, going, yeah, we're big bad America. And what this has done is then the National Assembly in Pakistan has passed a unanimous resolution calling on the state to cut ground and air supply lines to the U.S.-led NATO mission. So we need them strategically. This goes to why we get in all these, as Benjamin Franklin said, beware of foreign entanglements. We've been entangled in all this craziness in the Middle East. This is a fine example. Pakistan, kind of an ally, but they harbor terrorism. We give them aid. They give us access. And it's all just filthy. It's just a filthy relationship, right? So here's some of the other things it said. The Pakistani foreign minister said he urged the government to consider postponing any visit to U.S. delegations to Pakistan or by Pakistani offices to the U.S. Washington has also no choice but to use Pakistani roads to resupply its troops in landlocked Afghanistan. So if you do this and you can't then resupply, then Afghanistan is going to become more unstable. The Pakistan foreign minister said, Afghanistan, the U.S., and its allies should close their borders to leaders of terrorist militant groups carrying out acts of terrorism against Pakistan. They're calling Trump a terrorist. The resolution, which was adopted on Wednesday, refers to remarks made in Mr. Trump's speech earlier this month announcing a new U.S. strategy for Afghanistan. And just again, how clueless, stupid, and I'm not surprised by Trump doing this. Like, let's stop getting surprised. Let's stop people tweeting, Mr. Trump, have you no shame? He's not changing. This is who he is. He's a narcissist. He's a bully. He's probably a cokehead and probably has mental illness, either one or both of those. So this is what he does. But just to anyone that's supporting him or thinks this is a good idea and, Pakistan's awful, I'm not saying Pakistan's perfect. We're far from perfect. But just so you know, that war's happening over there, right? Here's what they've had to sacrifice. It is estimated there have been 70,000 Pakistani casualties in militant attacks since it joined the war on terror after 9/11. 70,000 people. Have we had 70,000 casualties from there? No. We've had about 3,000, which is awful, but let's put things in perspective. We send our military over there, but our civilian population isn't getting bombed because there's no war on the streets here. And that's always the argument. Well, we're going to take the war to them so it doesn't come here. Well, terrorists can just blow up anything. They can pick up a gun in San Bernardino and gun people down. They can jump in a car and go through people like Nazi terrorists just did in Charlottesville. So this idea that we're fighting them over there to stop terrorists, but when we go blow up poor countries, we kill a bunch of people, a bunch of civilians, and what are, non-combatants. So it's this is the last two paragraphs. But Pakistan, which borders Afghanistan, denies that it offers sanctuary to any armed groups, including the Taliban and the Haqqani network. Well, that's not true, of course. But a statement from the National Assembly where the National Assembly regards President Trump and General Nicholson's statements on Pakistan as hostile and threatening. And they should. And they should. And it's ridiculous and haphazard. And of course, what is Trump doing? He's making it more difficult for the soldiers that are already on the ground there. If your supply lines are cut, he's making it harder on you. So this idea that Trump is, like, it mystifies me. Like when I saw that old vet give him his Purple Heart during the campaign, and I see a lot of soldiers, military folks, yeah, Trump's going to make us strong again. It's like Trump is reckless and haphazard, and he's going to put you in harm's way for his profit. So, it's more ridiculousness, but also, the military-industrial complex would love us to have, 1 million boots on the ground in Afghanistan and Syria and North Korea, just to ramp up the war. Maybe we can spend 2 or 3 trillion on these new continuing wars. So, again, I know, broken record, we need a progressive in there. We need people that are like done with war and done with spending this money and done with spending the currency of our men and women going over there and fighting bullshit oil wars for assholes like Rex Tillerson. Here's how war would end. The president's family has to serve in a combat area. The cabinet any of their children have to serve in a combat position, not behind enemy lines, but in a combat position. All of Congress, all of the Senate, you have children, son or daughter, serving in combat. And they're not officers. They all have to be enlisted. All the defense contractors' kids got to go serve. All of the oil companies' kids got to go serve. If we passed that law, I bet you wars would start kind of wrapping up a little bit if we did that, which is what I would do if I was president. All you rich kids, you're going to fight in a war, and you're going to do it as an enlisted grunt. As a grunt, slugging it out in some nonsense war so that your dad and your mom and their buddies can just keep flying around on private jets while you think you're being an American hero. Does that sound good? Sounds good to me.